Okay, we're back with Wayne Kurzen, certified EOS implementer. Well, what he does is basically help business become the best that they can be for both employer and employee. You also talk about vision and why it's a lot like soccer, Wayne. Explain that.
Well, vision casting, and that's getting a grip on who you are, where you're going, how you're going to get there. And we sometimes think about, well, if I could just get that from the owner down to my front line here, that would be great.
Yeah, it is great. I think about it every day.
But the truth is, your vision is to grow, more than likely. So vision casting stops with your raving fan patient. So when your raving fan patient can feel what you're doing, they become your free marketing, walking advertisement. So,
and you're right. We've known that ever since I've been practicing medicine. It's
right.
a great thing. Take care of somebody, they're going to send you someone else.
Yeah, I'm just reading a book right now. It talks about if you have a good experience, you'll tell 7 people. If you have a bad experience, you'll tell 11.
Wow,
so,
those are not good odds.
That's right. So we don't really want bad experiences.
That's right. That's right. Well, I talk about transparency all the time on this show. So if you go to my website, entinstitute.com, you can actually see what it costs for a procedure like, straightening your septum so you can breathe, improving your ability to breathe. I think it's a big problem in healthcare today that there's not transparency. So, Wayne, you also feel that for companies to succeed that they need to be open and honest, correct?
Right. Just so happens I started reading a book that's right on the subject. It's called Dare, Accepting the Challenge of Trusting Leadership by a guy named Scott Wise.
Well, that's a nice plug. Very nice.
That's right. He's based here in Atlanta, but they got offices in L.A. and New York. But he says, dare to be honest. Americans are so familiar with deception that they almost expect it. And so the world is very unsettled, as we know. And when we find a person or institution we can trust, I think we almost breathe a sigh of relief. It's like, wow, where'd that come from? So
right.
what a great niche. What a great way to identify yourself is to be open and honest. And I think what we're talking about here is trust. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. What's the foundation of trust? I think it's transparency.
That is a great point. I love how you put that.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that a lot here on the show. About healthcare consumerism. You're going to be in charge of your healthcare dollar and your medical choices, and you're going to be basing them sometimes on money. And the scary part about that's great to be transparent about pricing, but you need to be transparent about the whole process.
Right.
What are patient expectations? What are they going to have a positive experience? And how do you create that positive experience? So, wow, transparency is a big hinge for you.
Right. And the transparency, if we're going to project that to the marketplace, it has to be internal because we can't fake it.
No,
we may try, but we cannot fake it.
I want everybody to know some things. Doctors may not like my show a whole lot because I'm being transparent. No, we do not play golf on Wednesdays. We do not, or Wednesdays. Sorry, that's the Alabama accent. Wednesday. No. So on Wednesdays we do not play golf. Stereotype. We don't do that. But we also don't trust anything. We don't trust anything. You want to find out about society is a microcosm on, we expect to be deceived. Well, physicians all think anything that's coming at them is a deception. And I don't know why that's in our culture. And it's an observation, honestly, over the past 10 years that physicians are the number one group of people, in my opinion, that you could say that the sky is blue and they're going to analyze it. Well, we're scientists. That's part of it. We're scientific method. We want things to be proven to us. So it is kind of unusual, and I think healthcare is headed that way. Transparency is a must. In fact, recently, I think it's been maybe a week ago, I read a report on now they're publishing relationships that physicians have with medical device companies or any kind of company. And have you been forthright? For example, again, something great. Why not embrace this transparency? Great example. We at the NT Institute, we have our own surgery centers, right? And it sounds somewhat self-serving, but I'm going to tell you it's not. Here's what happens. It saves you, the patient, thousands of dollars for us to use our highly sophisticated individual surgery centers just for our specialty. So that transparency, I don't mind. Do you know that there are physicians? It is a law that when somebody comes to our centers, we have to tell them that we own it, right? And I embrace that. I think it's great. Physician-owned, physician-run, and that transparency leads to trust, as you say.
Correct.
And so I love that. So again, I'm a big fan of yours and what you're doing. So one way to do it and implement this in transparency, you've got to have all the right people. So how do you know in a transparent company, a trusting company, how do you know you're hiring the right people?
Well, first of all, you have to establish what exactly is the culture that you want. What are your true core values, or as our friend Cliff Oxford says, your shared values.
That's
so
right.
Defining that very clearly. We have a little system here where we actually put the names of the leadership team down the left side and across the top are the core values, and we actually rate each one is whether they live it or not. So we're figuring that out. Just to kind of piggyback on the transparency thing, though, we find that if leadership, one of our things I mentioned is healthy, leadership teams have to be open and honest. And if they're not, then we kind of pride ourselves in the fact we'll go into the danger area. We're facilitating a leadership meeting and somebody's not engaged. We're going to say, hey, what's going on? So it can get nasty and there's cussing, swearing, and people leaving the room. But the elephant in the room has to get on the table. So getting that open and honesty within, and then feeling the freedom to actually take it outward. So if we're not hiding anything, and I think the bottom line really comes down to one thing. We have to really care about our patients.
We have to have
can't fake it.
Right.
One of my favorite podcasts is Andy Stanley on leadership, as you know, biggest church in the U.S. right now. But,
absolutely.
But Jeff Henderson was on the show with him, and Jeff said, and he's a professional in teaching us how to make presentations. He said, you have to love the people. You have to love who you're talking to, because if you don't, they'll know it. So, it's a simple thing, not easy, but, it really comes down to really caring.
Yeah, caring, transparency allows you to have that trust. And if you have a patient's trust, and it's so valuable in medicine, not that it's not valuable in other businesses, because, I trust my Ace Hardware guy, I do. I trust him. I go to that Ace Hardware and I trust him. But when it's your healthcare, and certainly as a surgeon, you're asleep, you truly are entrusting your life with me, it needs to start from the ground up. So, what mistakes are you seeing being made, do you think, in the medical field? With regard to, creating this transparency?
Well, I was interviewed by the AJC about 10 years ago, and they said, what do you see as the number one challenge for small business? And I was kind of new, and I didn't realize how prophetic it was, because I still believe in that, is they hang on to the wrong people too long.
Wow.
If we don't like conflict.
Yeah, and physicians do not love conflict.
Well, if I get rid of this person, I got to go find somebody else. And what if it's the wrong person? Again, so, we just bear up
the
under.
The devil you know is better than the one you don't.
So I think that really is number one.
And why should patients be concerned about this in their physicians' offices? Do you think that the transparency is just not that prevalent? I'm a little jaded because I deal with it day in and day out. I love it. It's part of my passion.
Right.
But it's about the ENT Institute.
Well, if you lie about one thing, you'll lie about another, right? So maybe you're not giving me the total skinny here, or maybe you're going to treat me for something I don't need. I don't know.
Well, you're right, and that is a big concern.
Yeah.
And so transparency is important. You need to know what the motivations are. So, yeah, I'm a big proponent of what you're doing, and so right now we need more transparency. Now, I'm not sure that it's coming forth. The Affordable Care Act is supposed to be about transparency, but I don't see it totally. I think there are a lot of things that are misleading, but again, you have to decide, is the Affordable Care Act about care or is it about society?
Right.
Whole different, we could do another show on that, Wayne. But it is a matter of having integrity. And I think healthcare consumers are in charge of that healthcare dollar. You need to demand the best. because here in Atlanta, you have choices. You can go anywhere you want to. I don't care what specialty it is, believe it or not. In physicians, I'm going to say, we get up every morning, put it on our pants like anybody. Okay, we are human beings, and we now have got to deliver health care the way people want it. And I love that. If people want retail hours, that's what we've got to do. Right? We've got to supply you as a consumer with what you want. So give me some.
And there's a real squeeze on you because the financial squeeze says, well, I need to even see more patients, and I need to work longer. So that takes away even more from the ability to run the business.
Right. It does.
Yeah.
Well, but a lot of listeners out there are business people. So what can you do to help them, and how do they get in touch with you?
Well, the system is really business agnostic. It doesn't really matter the type. It's just basic fundamental things, no silver bullets. So what we do is we sit down and figure out if we're a fit or not. If we're not a fit, well, then fine. And so that's,
and how do they get in touch with you?
Well, my website, if you can remember how to spell my name, it's the Kurzen Group, Kurzen Group, Kurzen Group.com.
And if you need that again, you can go to my website, entinstitute.com, and it'll be there for you, too.
There you go. And then my cell phone is 678-362-7734.
That's your cell phone?
Yes, sir.
See, doctors would never do that. That day and age is changing, though. Yeah. But anyway, well, thanks so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it. Wayne Kurzen, a certified EOS implementer. Until next week, this is Doc Talk with Dr. Jeffrey Gallops on Talk Radio 640 WGST.